meeting. I'm going to call the meeting for Tuesday, June 23rd to order. If the clerk could take the roll.
Supervisors Trottier and Preisker are excused this evening, and we are expecting Supervisors Coleman and Kelly to join us virtually, but they have not done so just yet. Everyone else is here in the chambers.
Okay, so item number 2. We have customarily here, have one of the supervisors give us the opening prayer. Supervisor Osterman is going to lead us tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and everybody here. Creator, we begin as always to ask your forgiveness for our transgressions and to put your protection upon us. Thank you for the day. Please guide our steps and give us wisdom for every decision, courage when the way is hard, temperance against a sharp tongue, and grace for all, even those who would tally against us. Bless our work, that we may glorify the beauty of your name through our endeavors, and help us to embrace a purpose-driven existence in this public service. Please hold close to you those who have come to you before us, and give them peace and everlasting life. We all now join in the Holy Spirit by saying, Amen.
Amen. And now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public comments. I have one up here, and it would be Rick Stacy. So, Scott, Vice Chairman Meyer here keeps time. He'll give you a 30-second warning at the end of running up to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, Rick Stacy, W2373 New Deal Avenue, East Troy, Wisconsin. Thank you, County Board of Supervisors, for letting me speak. Tonight I'm standing here brings back a lot of memories from growing up right here in Racine County. I spent the first part of my life on a farm right on Overson Road in Norway Township with a Union Grove address. I attended North Cape Grade School, graduated from Waterford High School, Wolverines, and spent 6 years showing at the Racine County Fair with the Racine County 4-H, Waterford FFA. My family's local roots go back to 1854. My name is Rick Stacy, and I'm running to represent in the Wisconsin State Assembly for the 33rd District. Today, I'm a professional line haul driver with 15 years behind the wheel, most of the time with UPS pulling double trailers. Before that, I spent 20 years with the boots on the ground as a full-time farmer, operating one of the largest agritainment farm operations in the area at the time. I know what it means to work a 14-hour day. I know what it takes to protect and work the land. I know exactly what heavy-handed state regulations have impact people who keep our economy moving. I also know how to govern efficiently. For the past 18 years, I've had the privilege of serving on the Walworth County Board as a supervisor, and for the last 5 years as board chair. When I first took over the gavel, I committed to an unshakable standard of total fiscal responsibility. Under my leadership, we successfully upgraded our 911 emergency response system and built a new public works building, a new HHS facility, all while keeping Walworth County completely debt-free. But I haven't just governed from behind the desk. I believe the hands-on leadership, when I say I back the badge, it's because I've been in the trenches with them. I've sat at the table for a sheriff department negotiations, ridden on deputies' cars, and worked directly with our jail operations and 911 dispatch system. I've been out on the water with the sheriff's department's dive boat to see our safety operation firsthand. I've toured every single one of our facilities, worked closely with Health and Human Services, and I'm incredibly proud of our department heads who run our county day in and day out. I've also brought the hands-on approach to zoning. I've worked hard to cut through the red tape, streamline the process, and make it much faster and easier for constituents to get their permits. Government should work for the people, not stand in their way. I tend to take this exact same common sense, conservative approach to Madison.
30 seconds.
I will stand in our local municipalities and counties and ensure you maintain local control and power in massive industries and big tech. Let's keep our prime farm soils in hands in our local families. I will focus on safe roads, infrastructure, and safety for everyone traveling on our highways. I will also support military and active duty service members, veterans, because close to my heart, I have a son serving the United States Air Force. I have proven government can be run efficiently without uh, burying our next generation in debt. I'm ready to work hard for the community where I grew up, for the entire 33rd district. I respectfully
Time.
ask you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further comments or public comments? Anyone? Okay, then we're going to move on. Item number 5, capital project status update. Hello there.
Hello again. I'm back. Behavioral Health Building. Update, I'm Gary Suko, for those that don't remember me. So we'd like to go to the first slide. All right, here we go. The first slide shows the exterior rendering of the building. And we'll follow with aerial photographs that were taken on, go ahead, on Monday, June 15th. That illustrate the current status of the exterior enclosure, the construction progress right there. The south elevation has the main entrance right in the middle there, center of the building. You can see that. That's the consumer entrance. You can see the masonry work is complete. The metal panel work is finishing up. The left sides, on the left and right sides of that main entry. Underground utilities are complete in the front. The drive lane has been stabilized and compact. Right in front here, you can see. We're preparing the landscape area to receive environmental cap materials that are compliant with the DNR requirements. Go to the next slide. That's the north elevation, the back side of the building. You can see masonry work is complete and the metal panel work is finishing up in the very middle. Exterior doors are all installed. All mechanical equipment is on the roof. You can see screens are installed around the air handling units. Those slide for maintenance reasons. Mechanical equipment startup and testing is underway. We'll go to the next slide. This is the West Sud Courtyard comparison to the rendering and where we are today. We have some clad and trim work to install, and the outdoor area will be ready for fencing. So that's well underway. The next slide, before we get into the inside, is a drone flight video taken on Monday, June 15th. So you can play that. Did we have that installed in there? There it is. You go to slide 6. Now we'll go into the interior progress. We'll start with the sud area. The left photo is the staff station, and on the right is a double consumer room. Painting nearly complete, flooring materials are being installed, and millwork is being installed as we speak. You can go to the next one. All right, this is the main entry area. The left photo is a view from the reception desk looking at the lobby. The right photo is a view from the second floor landing, looking outside the conference room. Painting's underway. The elevator is going to be installed next week, and flooring and millwork will follow after that. Go to the next one. These photos show progress within the sud area. The left photo is the staff. Well, the staff station and the dining area. The left side of this photo is the kitchen serving window. You'll see on the left side of the left photo. The right photo is the double consumer room. Drywall taping is finishing. Painting is underway on the side. For the whole building, We Energy's permanent power was energized earlier this month. So we're on permanent power now. All electrical panels, mechanical systems are starting up and being tested. IT closets are being built out now. Midwest Fiber pulled all the fiber to the building last week, and that will terminate as soon as the main closet is ready. Go to the next one. This is the second floor public restrooms on the left side. And on the right side is the office space on the east side of the building. Plumbing fixtures are being installed, light fixtures are being installed, flooring installation will be starting soon as well. So we're going to go to the project schedule. We remain in the building construction phase, of course, working on all the activities that I mentioned here on these previous slides. We'll be moving into testing and commissioning phase later this summer. Now, we're planning on the facility to be open for consumer use in November of this year. Cross our fingers, everything goes right. We are pushing here. We could be hit the October timeframe. Now we're going to get, before you even start that next slide, because this is going to be the financial part. We are expecting owner-provided items that start showing up this summer. That's all the IT equipment, audiovisual systems, security equipment, television, service provider, furniture, special equipment, laundry, staff room items, etc. should all be in there by August. Now, if you recall, when I came here way in the beginning, we started out this project in the beginning with a lot of soil issues, and we were $400,000 in additional costs when this project started. And we reported at that time, the budget was $36.1 million. We had a number of savings since my last update here. Go ahead and go to the next slide. You can see the budget column estimates to date. And I can go through each line if you want, but if you look at the bottom line, 37,050 is what all of you approved. We're tracking at 35,050. I'm here to announce today that we feel as of today, we can safely say we'll have 2 million surplus on this project. And now I'll open it up for questions.
Are there any questions on the? Supervisor Wishaw.
Thank you, Chair. Just refresh my memory. If we did have a surplus, which it sounds like we are going to, what is the plan with that money?
The plan for the 2 million, I think I'd let Michael, do we want to address that?
There will be discussion in the following presentation and then a future board action contemplated at future meetings about the specific use of that. Generally speaking, what I can say is that we have a host of projects that will have additional unspent portions, and that goes into an account and to address if we see unforeseen overages in other projects. It's unexpended capital, I believe. And so that's the traditional use, but we're generally not looking at $2 million on a particular project. It's much smaller sums. And so given the magnitude of that, there will be a separate consideration, but that's the next presentation that will foreshadow that.
When you look at that, the tariff we've talked about in the past, you can see we put 400,000 on the right. That should be coming back into the project. We're safe on that right column there. So the Gilbane team, Ramos Stein, the architects, and all of us putting our heads together here with the county executive team. To start out in the hole with that soil and come out like this, we're very proud of the work that has been done by the entire team.
I think you can talk to, talking for everybody here, that is surprise that you're coming in under, that usually not how we see things. So. why don't you
Yeah, we had a total, I know Ernie usually asks how many change orders. We had 18 change orders. That's where we are right now.
Supervisor Rossi.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for the comment of, I guess indicating my concerns, but, I want to say this is great. I'm very pleased with this, and, it seems like after the soils issues, it was smooth sailing for you guys, and, not only you, but the entire team. And I want to commend the executive, because I remember there was a comment that was made by the executive about the project that, that we're going to be falling under his, authority over the next few years. And he made a commitment to keep things on budget, and I see that here. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any further questions? Comments? Okay, go ahead, Gary.
Thank you.
The public safety building. Oh. Not public safety. Retired Captain Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. This is the third time I've stood before you to give you an update on our public safety center. Some of this may be repetitive, and I apologize. We'll be hearing this. Some of this information will be very similar as we move through this project. As you may know, Public Safety Center is being built. Go ahead to the next slide. Public Safety Center is being built, obviously, to house the Sheriff's Office operations, our 911 communications, our emergency operations, and our emergency management team. With a projected budget, when this was approved, for $40 million. Go ahead. So the last couple of updates, we haven't been able to provide a real distinct layout of what the building, we envision the building looking like. These next couple of slides will help, at least with the exterior portion of the building, of what we anticipate through our work with the architectural firm and Gilbane on what our finished product will look like. Go ahead. So this is the exterior of the public safety building. This includes the renovated portion, which you see on the right slide, and the newer portion, which is off to the left of that exterior that I was discussing. Go ahead. So recently, the Sheriff's Office command team, myself, Gilbane, the architecture team, made some decisions related to the exterior colors of the public safety building. These decisions were made together with Gilbane and Ramlo Stein, but the objective here was to find something that blends in well with our existing building, our existing patrol station, and gives a professional, pleasing aesthetic look. So what we come up with is what you see on the left will be a large version of the building to match the existing patrol station, and that cream or white color will be accents on the front, and will take up the majority of that color would be on the back side of the building, which would not be visible to the public. Go ahead. So the project timeline, funding approval in 2024, this board approved $40 million for this project. Since then, we've been working through the RFP process. We did that with Ramlo Stein and Gilbane, was approved for this project. The construction start, site prep construction at Ives Grove is scheduled to begin in spring of this year. So we've been working towards that objective diligently, both Ramlo Stein, Gilbane, and the county leadership team. To that end, we anticipate, if everything tracks accordingly, near the end of 2027, project completion for the public safety building. Go ahead. So the project overview, I've discussed this before. It goes without saying, the existing patrol station built in the 70s, it's way beyond life to house everything that we discussed, our current 911 team, the existing Sheriff's Office staff, and all our emergency services. So as we move forward to build this, the objective, one of the visions was to provide a new building and remodel portion of the building in a new building that would house all the things that I discussed earlier to provide an integrated public safety campus and allow room for growth and efficiency, keeping that in mind as we work through this process to build this building that has always been in the forefront of our mind as well. Go ahead. So again, as I stated, Sheriff's Office Operations, 911 Dispatch, Racine County Emergency Management, and Racine County Emergency Ops Center would be housed in this location, again, towards that objective of creating integration, public safety integration. Go ahead. So this slide is current budget to date. Budget to date, the approval by this board was $40 million. You can see it outlined what that budget looks like as it relates to construction, the owner's reserve, land acquisition, professional services, furniture, all of the things that are required. Projected cost with bids, which were just finalized in the beginning of June. We have realized a $4 million overture on this project. There will be additional slides as we go through this explaining what drove some of that and how we got here. But essentially, when this was approved several years ago at $40 million, inflationary concerns that I think everybody's seeing has been a large impact on not only on the consumer side, but on the construction side, geopolitical issues, things of that nature. Go ahead. Construction cost escalation, again, geopolitical and local economic impacts. And I do have the Gilbane team here with me this evening to address some of that a little bit more in depth, to explain how we came up with that overage that was not anticipated when this was approved several years ago. Go ahead. So this graph demonstrates. Yeah, go ahead.
No worries.
Sorry. I was waiting for somebody to step.
You're good. Good evening, folks. Ben Trubuck with Gilbane Building Company, pre-construction manager in our Milwaukee business unit. It's been a pleasure working on this project and working with Racine County, both on the behavioral health project and this one over the years. This graph that we've presented here today, and I know it's a little hard to see. I hope that we can get you, a more readable version in a printout or something. But this graph here is of an index. This index is produced by Engineering News Record magazine. It's one of the leading publications in the engineering construction industry. They, as a number of other firms, produce construction cost indices. Generally, in our experience at Gilbane, we find that ENR's building cost index is probably one of the better ones and most accurately reflects the type of vertical construction that this project falls into. What I'm highlighting here is just some of the index values from their published numbers from when we first started looking at this project. And this goes all the way back to July of 2020. There was a study that was done. We helped. It was a different architecture firm, a different leadership team and everything. But way back in 2020, there was a study on this expansion. And we took the estimate that we had some rough numbers that we had worked then. And if I were to take that and bring it then to October 2024, purely based on ENR's published building cost index, you would expect that if you were to do the same project, you would expect that project to cost 34.3% more. Again, based on, it's a basket of goods. It's kind of like a consumer price index, if you're familiar with that on the true inflation side, but this is really construction focused and captures all the things that impact our industry. So then the next number that I provide there is if you were to take that July 2020 number and take that to today, just what the latest published value of that index is, that's a 40.5% increase that you would expect for, again, an apples to apples project just delivered at those different points in time. So provide this for some context. I think we can probably go to the next slide. And then, do you want me to take this one? Yeah. So what do we do, right? So we knew that when we entered into this project in October of 2024, we knew that we were facing some headwinds. We had watched what had happened in our industry over the last few years as it involves labor and material costs and everything else, right? And so we took what, You may have heard the term, if you follow the construction industry, the term target value design, right? We knew that we had a $40 million budget that we were going to try and design to. And we knew that based on the programming effort, both that had been done in 2020 and then redone at the beginning of the kind of restart of this project in late 2024, we knew that it was going to take a lot of work and frankly, some sacrifices to get that program of what we needed to build or wanted to build closer to the $40 million project. Because as had been mentioned, you know, if you were to take that 2020 estimate in that project and bring it forward just based on market conditions, it would have been a close to $60 million estimate, right? So you can see here, 135,000 square feet was the total built area that the RFP that we responded to in October of 2024 instructed that the project was aiming to build 135,000 square feet of space. Now that was intended to be a mix of uses, right? Some of the emergency operations, some sheriffs, some kind of storage. So it was a variety of spaces, but total, the goal was 135,000 square feet for $40 million. Our quick number at the time said, even at a baseline, that would be 42. We established that budget in October 2024 of 40 million. So then you can see when we started in January of 2025, the first programming effort that was done said, well, we need to build 117,000 square feet, 117,000 square feet of space. We ran a number and we said, okay, that'd be about $56 million to build that much space. And I'm generalizing and simplifying, but that was where we stood at that point. And again, the team made some tough decisions and we worked with the design team. This is what they do, right? They work with their clients. They work with all of the involved departments to make necessary cuts to what it is that they wanted to build. So 4 conference rooms became 3 conference rooms, and an ensuite bathroom in the 911 call center became, well, they can go outside and go use a shared bathroom in the hallway. Offices got smaller. People got, more people got pushed into an office. There were significant sacrifices that were made throughout the design as we worked towards that $40 million budget. Where we've landed again today is getting to the true bare minimum, right? We've cut what we can cut. We've gotten as close as we can, factoring in current conditions and everything else that lands at the 44 million. So let's go to the next slide. And I'll just give you an example. Again, I know you can't see the detail of this here, but this is just an example of the tools that we were using as we worked through that process, right? Everywhere that we identified as we went through design, see there's something new that was talked about through the design process, or another idea that we had of, well, what if we combined these 2 rooms, and what if this conference room got shifted across the hallway and then it became a shared conference room between these 2 other departments, again, to try and get the square footage down, because that's the biggest driver of your construction cost, is how much of a building you're building, right? So this is an example of all the different things that we did. I know some of these you can't see, but there's examples on here of significant revisions to the lighting plan and the light fixtures that are intended to be in the building, right? How can we simplify those? Some of them are square footage based. Some of them are, instead of, a masonry constructed dog washing area for the canine units, can that just be a purchased, kind of an off the shelf dog washing counter and sink? So different things that we did, some small dollars, some bigger dollars, all towards getting to that target budget as best we could. We can go to the next slide. And then this is on to some of the challenges that continue to face us, right? And part of the reasons why we haven't been able to realize, despite the significant cuts and the significant effort that was made from the project team and through the design team's help, is time, right? Time is always working against us. And every year, new labor agreements are signed. And cost escalation, I think, as a lot of us have seen in our day-to-day life, hasn't slowed maybe as much as you would hope. There's national and local economic impacts that, Mary, I think you can speak to some of that in a minute about what's going on just in our area and how that's affecting certain trades in the labor market. And then, of course, geopolitical issues, again, just causing costs to be where they are today. So, Mary, do you want to say anything on especially on the local economic?
Yes, hi. Mary Collins, project executive with Gilbane, working on both behavioral health project and public safety project for the county. The national and local economic impacts are very, very real, affecting all of our projects across the nation, but locally as well. and why they're tied together here. So the large data projects that you're aware of that are happening not just in Southeast Wisconsin and in Wisconsin in general, but across the nation, they are competing with each other for the workforce and doing whatever they can to draw that workforce to their project so that they can be first to market for their data center. So they are offering a plethora of amenities and wage increases just to attract that labor. So labor is leaving and we have to be competitive in order to draw them back and keep them here. And even though we're not working on a data center, we still need that same labor force and we need them to be drawn here. The workforce right now is being very picky about what projects they want to work on. And so we have to be able to keep them here. The example at the very end of May, electricians are now making $10 over scale and double time for every time and a half they would be making usually. So that's a significant increase. If anybody wants to be an electrician, they're looking for a lot. But that's real. Same thing for truck drivers. That is being paid over scale too, just from the Vantage project in Port Washington. So that labor challenge is significantly impacting projects everywhere. I would say a local project for us has a $20 million allowance on their project just to cover labor impacts from this. So we're not looking for that for this project, but I mean, that's the reality.
Yeah, and that's part of, that's part of the project budget and that's worked in similar to the way that the tariff allowance was added to the behavioral health project. There's similar allowances meant to protect the county's risk for if, labor attraction and retention is needed to maintain the project schedule. That's part of the $44 million that's been presented. So can we go to the next slide? Thank you. And well, you want to talk on general inflation? Sure.
Thank you, Gwen Zimmer, Finance Director, if you don't know me. So inflation, when you're talking about general county budgeting, we're seeing inflation is impacting operations. In particular with fuel, we're seeing 25% over last year's fuel amount. The net new construction last year was 4.8%. Last 2 weeks ago, the feds released the CPI, the inflation number for the Midwest, at 5%. We're just seeing everything escalate here. So when the leadership team under County Executive Delagrave came to this body to authorize the public safety building project at $40 million in 2023, the impact over the last 3 years of 10% inflation, that's now worth $44 million. So that really is in line with what the projected estimates came back on the bids here. And so I can speak that in the coming weeks, leadership will be coming to the Finance and Human Resources Committee and to the County Board in seeking additional authorization for this project, including the savings of the behavioral health building project.
Go ahead. So significant milestones to date. We completed design development, obviously. We've been working through pre-construction activities. As we discussed, one of the things that's in line with everything that's been discussed here, we determined early on, although it was logistically a heavy lift, that a one-phase construction plan would be desirable as a cost-saving measure. So we've implemented that. Sheriff staff is off-site. We're working with the 911 staff. And as I mentioned, at the beginning of June, the bid package releases occurred in the last couple of months and were brought to us at the beginning of June, just a few weeks ago. Go ahead. So the next steps, obviously the execution of the GMP is critical. Finalization of that one-phase construction plan that I just discussed. That building is vacant with the exception of the 911 staff. We're working through some logistics with them, but anticipate 911 staff being out of the facility at the end of the month. Bid package finalization, with everything that's been discussed here thus far, the leadership team, the county, all entities involved have done an exhaustive amount of work to try to bring this within that initial budget. And we are continuing to explore and take advantage of any and all value engineering options, both now and as we move through the project. Construction begins here in the very near future. We continue to coordinate with the radio, the 911 radio project, which I'll discuss here in a moment, kind of where we're at with that project. But those, as we've discussed before, those two projects go hand in hand. Additional reviews that have been completed, the DSPS with the state has been approved. The DOC, we have approval for that portion of the building through the DOC, and the IDC review between architectural and engineering has been completed. And as Director Zimmer indicated, in July, the county leadership team will be completing resolutions to add additional funding to the public safety building. Go ahead. And with that, I open it up to any questions that the board may have.
Are there any questions? Supervisor Horth?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, obviously, seeing that we're talking about a $4 million overage is, I want to say, alarming. But I think my first question is, I thought that a few months ago, we had a very similar presentation and didn't hear anything about overage at that point. In fact, I actually thought I heard we were on budget. I could be wrong, but I'm sitting here thinking to myself, is this the first time we're hearing this as a group that we're going, I'm sorry, the Board of Supervisors, that we're going to have a $4 million overage on a project that 2 months ago, 3 months ago, the last time you gave your update, we didn't hear anything about?
So at the end of 25, beginning of 2026, we were on budget within that $40 million budget. Okay, so how that progressed, the county did learn around February that there was a slight overage related to many of the things that we've been discussing here today. The county was made aware of that. There was some communication regarding contingencies and some other things that we could do through value engineering to bring us back within that $40 million budget. There's been obviously a ton of communication. That was in February of this year. That moved through March into April. We learned that number, that initial very small number over the $40 million had increased yet further. Again, the county team internally, leadership team, looking at contingencies, looking at, we can still value engineer, we can get this under the 40 million. Come the end of April, beginning of May, there was some miscommunication. It was the county's understanding that those contingencies were in place, along with the value engineering to mitigate some of those overages. The county then learned that the numbers that we were presented with the overages included using up those contingencies. So that was news to the county. And then at that time, some of the things that have been discussed here related to the labor force, which literally within the last 2 to 3 weeks, that information became available. And the inflationary numbers and some of the geopolitical things, literally within the first week of May to where we stand here today, that information started to develop. And we, as the county, were not aware until, okay, so then we realized there were discussions that this was starting to not escalate, but the number was starting to increase. And this was in the last month. So we determined, okay, let's look at this. We're going to value engineer more. We're also going to look at, we still haven't gotten all the bids in. We haven't opened them. And there was hope that we would get some of that and we would see some relief there, that maybe some of these things came in under where they were anticipated, that we could fall much more in line with the $40 million budget. That meeting was held at the beginning of June. Those numbers came in, and then those numbers came in higher than we anticipated. That brought us to where we are today. So in answer to your question, coming into 2026, we were on budget. There were a couple of conversations that we were slightly over, but those could all be brought within the $40 million budget. We literally, as a county, did not learn until May of this year that this was getting to a point where we were significantly over budget with things that were completely out of our control. So that's kind of simplifies it, but over globally, that's how this developed. We were within budget the last time I stood here before you. We weren't hiding anything. We weren't trying to deceive anyone. That was the case. The entire team was on board with that. This is just really developed in a very short period of time.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Factually, I get the information. I find it incredibly difficult to accept that we are now going to have a $4 million overage that has occurred from an information flow standpoint within the last, basically within the last 3 or 4 months, that this wasn't something that could have or should have been anticipated previously, so that that could be communicated in case there needed to be additional attention given, certainly at the county board supervisor level. Now, granted, the staff is aware of this, I'm sure, and they're addressing it in the manner that they feel appropriate. I just feel completely blindsided by this because, by the way, I'm also out in the constituents in my town telling everybody how great the projects are, which they are, and that they are being done on budget. And so you all need to perform to these same types of expectations. Now we're going to turn around and say, oh, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I hear what you're saying. And by the way, I appreciate you standing up there. I know it's not a comfortable message to be sharing. I'm just finding it incredibly difficult to accept right now. And I don't know the best way to be able to respond beyond that.
I appreciate that. But again, there was no intent or deception on this team's part in any way, shape, or form. Everything I just outlined is exactly how this played out.
Supervisor Shakur.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for a fine presentation. My concern or question is in regards to, in particular, the radio public safety center, systems upgrades and software changes, hardware changes. I mean, where are we going to be with that down the road as far as cost things?
So some of those questions, that's kind of a global question. I guess if you're referring to the radio system and some of the costs that are associated with that and how those are going to be recouped or how that's going to be borne throughout the community, those questions would be for the leadership team and the county executive. I can't address that specifically.
Okay, well, I'm just interested in that because, systems are always updating, they're changing, and
There will be costs, most certainly, but again, that's for the leadership team and the county executive to address.
finance director.
Or the chief deputy.
Call them out.
So I could get into that now. The next presentation is specifically about the radio project and the updates on the radio project. So if you want, I can answer it now, or we can take any other questions on the public safety center, or we can just wait, complete that, and then move into the radio.
Let's stay on public safety building. Supervisor Wish.
Thank you, Mr.
Are
Chairman.
you done, Supervisor Shakur?
Yes.
Okay, Supervisor Wish.
Thank you. To Supervisor Orth. First of all, you got the war in Iran. It's affecting more than what you think it is. I'm in the retail business, as everybody knows. It's like I don't know how to explain it, like taking a dartboard and putting it on that wall and trying to hit the center on what your price should be on something. The prices you do not believe. You probably won't believe me, but you're probably seeing it every day. Maybe you don't realize it when you're paying things at the grocery store or wherever you're buying anything. We've had to adjust prices midstream in the middle of our busiest season. We had no choice. We had to take prices up. And I'll tell you why. You got fuel costs and you got the trucking. It's not just the trucking, it's drivers. What we're hearing across the industry, when we would order something for someone, like for instance me, I do special orders on replacement cushions. Prices have jacked up almost 30% because they're made in the United States and because they got to get a trucker to come pick it up, which are in short supply. Can't get them. So they're obviously, as the young lady mentioned over there from Gilbane, truckers are at a premium, just like electricians, which I understand is 1.5 million of this $4 million excess budget or overage in the budget. Well, you should be an electrician, right? So the other thing that's happened in the last 3 or 4 months is the tariff situation has not gone away, and you got inflation because of the gas prices. So there's no way that you can project really, where you're gonna be at any given time. You gotta guess. So that's my experience is what's affecting us. And our business right now is way down because obviously people aren't willing to buy pools. We got weather as an issue, part of the problem. But large expenditures, I mean, don't you think twice? Everybody's thinking twice, three times about that because of what the cost of goods is right now. So in defense of what they're saying, in defense of the excess or the overage in the budget, that's why I'm bringing those issues up. I'm not in favor of $4 million overage either. Okay. But I could see why it happened. What I don't understand is Gil Bain mentioned in that one of those slides back in 2020 or whenever that was, you projected 42 million. And then all of a sudden now it's 40 million, and that's what we approved with the county executive Delagrave. What happened to that 2 million? Why did that budget go from, why did it go from your projection of 42 down to 40? We'd be in a better position, obviously, if we had left it where it was, correct? And now we're out to bond probably, I don't know, 2 million. And then you're going to take the excess from behavioral science and throw that into the public safety building. And I see where that's going. I don't know that you have an option. This project's already in the works. We've already forked out a bunch of money for it. So I guess, I'm not trying to talk out of both sides of my mouth. I'm not happy about it, but I understand what happened. And things aren't getting any better. I mean, it's just the nature of what's going on right now. And it's not just us, it's everywhere in the United States and probably overseas. So that's all I got to say on that matter. Thank you.
County Executive, have comments?
I do. I'd like to address Supervisor Horace's comments from a few minutes ago. Up until about 7 to 10 days ago, there was a path forward to remain in budget. And we had discussed that internally. And I was in a unique situation where the chief deputy, who wants the best of the sheriff's department and put the best foot forward for the sheriff's department, was willing to do one thing. And my money savings guy back here, Gary, was telling me that would be crazy to do. And that path forward was to whack the storage buildings that are part of this project. Now, we can whack those storage buildings, we can get to the budget, and then we can leave millions of dollars worth of equipment sit outside and decide in a year or two that we need those buildings for more money. Because what we spent today is more than yesterday, and it's going to be less than tomorrow. So that was the decision that I made. We can't afford to whack those buildings, and we need to find a path forward. What you're seeing tonight here financially is the worst case scenario. I always want to present the worst case scenario as far as this project's over, this project's under over here, which is good news, but both of them might perform better than what you see. I'm not going to overpromise and underdeliver, but that's the real life situation. We can whack the buildings and we can spend more tomorrow. So I'll leave it at that.
Supervisor Spencer.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm requesting a copy of all of these, but I'd also like to see a clear page of your value management tracking tool page. Something clear that we can read.
If I understand correctly, I think Supervisor Spencer, you're referring to the one page that was in green. And I think that was an excerpt of the larger report. I believe that's the Gilbane report.
Oh, okay. I'd just like to see a clear version of that emailed to each of us. Thank you.
Supervisor Rossi.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you, Chief Deputy Widener. We had some communications about this, and I do want to look a little bit more into this before I make my decision on where I stand with the overages, because sometimes there are necessary overages, and I, at this point, don't know where these fall. The items that are a little concerning to me are, oh, first I'm gonna have some questions and, you know, what revision is this to the drawings? Are we in addenda now? How far in are we? Is this,
As far as the project overall with the drawings and where we stand,
yeah,
we're right to the end of the fourth quarter. We're at the end of this.
so are the
to make-
drawings finalized or are they?
Yes,
to
to make,
addenda stage?
any modification at this point would be, go ahead.
We've gone through the addenda stage. The drawings have been issued for permit. They've been out to bid. All of the drawings and revisions that have gone through the addenda stage are captured in the GMP that we presented to the county. We do have some comments back from the authorities having jurisdiction, such as DNR, DHS, DSPS. And they have very minor comments in comparison to, say, ones that we received for behavioral health. But we have accounted for anticipated comments in the GMP.
How many addenda were there?
From Ramlo Stein, I believe there were 3.
3. Okay. The
To
rest of
the
this,
construction side, we issued several supplements in the public bidding opportunity for public bidding, but not all of those supplements that went out had addendum from Ramelstein.
okay. All right, to everyone else, just do you understand why I ask about addenda? Addenda, when you have a change to the drawings issued, that usually is an indicator to me that, you know, there was some major cost savings or something along those lines implemented. Or sometimes you do a reissue of the drawings. So that's why I'm asking, you know, to see, well, once these numbers came to the surface, what was done on our end to try and start reducing costs. We were talking about storage facilities, and storage facilities, if not part of the main building mass, and usually drive cost per price per square foot way down. And that's what I want to talk about right now, because this is the thing that doesn't make any sense to me. We talked about, you know, a 50% cost increase, or I've seen as much as 60% CCI increases since 2019. So yeah, it's realistic to see a project cost go up 50-60%. From 2020, we were at $311 a square foot, 135,000 square foot. In 2025, we rebaselined at $476 a square foot. So that's a 50% increase. Now that's 2025. Then we really dropped square footage down, and 2025 again, later in 2025, we go up to $636 a square foot. So we're at 105% increase from what our 2020 square foot cost was. What happened?
Can I take this one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. So I've been, you know, going through this process. I've been looking back at that 2020 study that was done. Again, different architecture firm, kind of a different approach, but similar idea of the project. And it's interesting when we look back at that plan, this and dollars per square foot, you're on the right like metric, right? The biggest driver of where you're seeing the change in overall dollars per square foot is because the ratio of the types of buildings is different in the mix now. So in the 2020 study, of that 135,000 square feet, or even more in the original 2020 study, a much larger percentage of the overall square footage of what we were going to build was intended to be storage buildings. And interestingly enough, back then, we were talking about unheated, untempered, true, I don't want to say the term barn, it comes with a connotation, but we're talking about unheated, untempered storage barns, right? And so on a cost per square foot basis, those were much lower. And because they were a much larger chunk of the pie of what we were talking about building, it drove down that overall cost per square foot. As we've cut, and again, gone through this process of trying to hone in on what is a project that we can deliver that meets the needs of the county, that's closer or as close as we can be to that $40 million target, effectively what's been cut is storage buildings, right? The core functions of what this building needs to be, or you know, what the design team is working out with the team, the 911 call center, the sheriff's operation and everything, right? Those are the functions that are in the main building addition, high dollar per square foot space, not, you know, emergency operations centers, district command centers, operational sheriff spaces and whatever else. So correct to dive into that. I would say the biggest short answer to your question, biggest driver there is the ratio of what it is that we're talking about building. And we've cut a lot of the cheap stuff out of the plan. And so what you're left with is the more expensive new construction. I'll also note that the other change is working to fit as much of the program of what it is we're trying to build into the renovated sheriff's patrol building, right? So at one point we talked about how much of this is new construction versus how much do we try and fit into that existing shape. That's another change that's happened.
So the 117,000 square foot to 70,000 represents cutting purely storage buildings?
Sorry, say that again.
Going from 117,000 square foot to 70,000, and that was the 50% increase, going from $476 a square foot to $636 a square foot.
Sure. Yeah, 117 to 70. A lot of that was a reduction.
That's a lot of storage facility.
It was for storage facility, but that was also, so that one where we went from January to August is where we shrunk the new addition. That was where we did the first deep cut on the new addition. And so that one's both.
Okay.
And then increased the quantity or severity of renovation to the existing building.
Yeah, that was the other part. Yeah, there was in January of 2025 a hope that we could do the renovations effectively as a light touch renovation. Was, can we keep a lot of the existing building systems? Can we just go in and maybe move a few walls, redo the finishes in there and use it? As we continued to research and determine more about that building, we just realized that it needed to be, as was mentioned in the slides, a full renovation. There's, building system wise, we're reusing what we can. We're reusing one of the air handlers. That's from the 2003 edition? 2001 edition? 03?
03.
I think it's a vintage 03. So that's again part of the value engineering, right? So how can we utilize what's there? So we identified that we could reuse one of the air handlers, take all the ductwork out back to it, keep that air handler in and just put in one new air handler. But still, it's not the initial assumption of can we reuse everything? So those are some of the balances that we've had to work through.
Thank you for that. I don't mean to drag this on, so thank you everyone for allowing me to continue for that.
Supervisor Osterman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Supervisor Rossi asked most of my questions. So of this PowerPoint, can we just get the section related to the Public Safety Center parsed out and sent to us? That would.
Yeah, I think we can send them in 3 different files.
We don't need
Correct,
all that
yeah.
other stuff. It won't, the drone won't download and all that. It's just, so just that small part. And pardon my relative ignorance, I was not here when this started, so I'm trying to play catch up on some things. So we go from, the original discussion's 130,000 square feet, and 117 is where you started with your base. And now we're down to 70,000 square feet. Are we even going to get, this is my basic question, are we even going to get the type of building and the amenities that we need? Or is this going to be just barely getting by?
So, go ahead. So as has been said several times, right, we worked a lot, very, very hard as a design team, working with our professional partners, really to go through line by line, area by area, and find what we could cut, where we could trim things off, but still maintain the core operational functionality of the building. So we do feel that we still are in that position, maintaining the core operational functionality of the building as it is designed. Now, obviously, we have now escalated from 40 million up to an additional 3.5 million, and then an additional $500,000, making it the 44 million, with adding some additional contingency in there, right? And that really came where it went from estimations to really where the rubber meets the road. And we received all of these bids back 2 weeks ago, and really seeing that massive escalation with what the market is really providing right now. So that is it was a very rapid escalation as we move through all this. But to your original question, yes, we do feel in this configuration that it is meeting the operational effectiveness that the sheriff's office emergency management and dispatch need, additional cuts would move us out of that area. So if we went and stayed at the 40 million and we had to cut $4 additional million out of this building right now, that would cut into the operational effectiveness of all of the entities that are going to live out of this building.
So then, if you look at the trends over the last 40 years in our county, can you say that for the next 20 years that this is gonna suffice the operation?
As we moved into this project, we were definitely looking to the future and having those conversations and making approximations on what we felt were going to be the challenges 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and what would the sheriff's office, dispatch, emergency management look like, and with an eye towards growth and allowing that growth over time. Now, we've had to sacrifice a bit of that, quite a bit of that, as we've moved forward with this, as we started to see this cost escalation and looking towards the value management component of this to really try to keep it back within budget. So there have been some sacrifices, but we still feel confident that this building will fit our needs.
Thank you.
Any further questions on the public safety building? Seeing none, we'll move on to the communication system.
So the radio system implementation, as we've discussed before, when I stood here before you, was approved for $23 million. Our existing system was beyond end of life. So we're implementing a reliable, enhanced, next generation countywide radio system. Go ahead. So this is our Burlington location. This was one of our more challenging sites for the county's part. From a contractor perspective, some of the things that counties had to do on site, Burlington, our Waterford Tower, and our Caledonia Tower have been a heavy focus in this last quarter. So this is our Burlington location. It is completed. So I was just did a walkthrough 2 days ago. We've been working in conjunction with the municipality, as with all the other municipalities. They are very happy with the end product, and this is going to meet all of our needs for the next generation radio system. Go ahead. So the project timeline, research began in fall of 2022 with the help of federal engineering, our partners. Well, federal engineering was contracted to be our partner in this from a technical perspective, to take it to RFP. And that was ultimately awarded to Motorola to complete this project for the county. $23 million in funding was approved by this board in the summer of 2024. And then in fall of 2026, we began the construction project of the new radio system. Go ahead. So an overview to this point, as I've just stated before, when I've stood before you, this is a modern radio network system. It's well advanced compared to what we currently operate with. It's the part of the Wisconsin Public Safety Network, referred to as WIPSN. It's a shared core that's offsite, and it is a 700 megahertz digital trunked system. The system provides radio comms to law enforcement, fire, EMS, public health, transit, public works across the entire county. This system will serve every entity within the county. And that, much like we talk about integration, helps with integration, reliability with our partners and countywide for a unified response when we're responding to countywide emergencies. Go ahead. So the core areas of this system are the actual infrastructure of the system. When we talk about the infrastructure, we're talking about the site that we just showed you, the shelters, the towers, the dishes, all of those things are part of this. The mobile and portable radios that actually go onto the system, the staffing that is necessary to maintain and keep the system running effectively, and then ongoing maintenance and updates, as Supervisor Shakur had asked earlier. That is part of this as well, and that is part of the core system of this project. Go ahead. So budget to date, this particular project, we are on budget. on this project. This project, we are currently, as I stated, we have worked through with our contractors on several of the sites. We are now moving into, Motorola is actually bringing the equipment in to our facilities and going to be shortly here in the near future, bringing the system up. Some of the heavy lifts for us at that point will be integrating the system. We continue with training and implementation and communicating with our stakeholders to that end. But a large portion of the heavy lift of this project has been completed to this point. Go ahead. So significant milestones, radio tower construction modifications, as I spoke about, that has been, we're well along in that process. There's still work to be done. We continue training and implementation, team and communication with our partners throughout the county. We just had a training and implementation team meeting recently, as well as a stakeholder meeting recently, and we're in the process of setting up our next meetings with those stakeholders and our training team. Technical and functional testing of the microwave system was completed. I believe I spoke about that at the last update out in North Carolina. I went out with our partners with Federal Engineering. They put everything online, much like we did when we went out and tested the system with the actual radio system itself with Motorola earlier in the year to test its functionality. That was completed. And then also we have brought on board a new radio system administrator has been hired here within the last month. Go ahead. So the next steps for the radio system implementation, as I've stated, continuation of the construction and modifications to the towers and each of the tower sites. The backup dispatch center remodel, we are effectively 80% of the way there with that remodel and building out of that dispatch center located at the law enforcement center. Project coordination I spoke about earlier. Coordination between the radio and public safety center project is imperative and continues on a daily basis. The continuation of the communication and training and the quarterly stakeholder meetings. And then as we move forward, again, as we finalize the equipment portion of this and Motorola begins bringing all the system equipment in, we bring it up online. We'll begin, and we have been done channel planning, system transition, and we're making plans for that cutover onto that new system here in the near future. The leadership team in upcoming closed session we'll be having further discussions about several important topics related to the radio system with the board. Go ahead. So with that, I will open it up to any questions.
Supervisor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You had in the budget, I think it was 14.6 for equipment. Could you provide to the board maybe a list of about the top 20 items and their cost in that?
Sure. The majority of the items that are listed in there for the equipment, that is actually the mobile and portable radios that are being purchased for use on the system. So when we look at the system, there's really three large cost centers. One being the core infrastructure of the system. So this is all of the towers, the photos that you saw of Burlington, Caledonia, a number of other sites, the infrastructure work that was done at those locations. It's approximately just over $8 million to do that work. That connects back to the Whipson Center, which is a very large computer server. And that is kind of really is one of the largest technological departures from our historic radio system, which is more traditional with tuners and amplifiers that are spread throughout the county, moving to a next gen radio system, which is just more or less a large computer server. So that is really the infrastructure component. So it's those tower sites and all the connectivity back to that shared core system. The second large section of funding is the $14+ million of equipment. So very early on in the project, it was determined again by then County Executive Delagrave that the cost of the new radios that are needed to work on this system is very large, and it would have been a very heavy fiscal lift for the majority of the municipalities within the county. So a part of this project was providing baseline radios for every municipality, throughout the county. And that is what accounts for that $14.6 million are all of those portables and mobiles. Those have been purchased. We worked with all of the municipalities this last year, placing those orders because they are built to order. Those have been placed, they've been built. We're working with Motorola on those right now. And there's two different groups that we've been discussing at all of these meetings. One is the stakeholders group. So we have two stakeholders group. One are our primary stakeholders, This is all fire EMS and law enforcement who are going to be the primary users of the system, but then we also have secondary users of the system. So that's going to be DPW, public health, transit, parks. So we have representatives from all the municipalities that are invited to those meetings. They're held quarterly. We provide updates on the progress of the overall project to all of those stakeholders on that regular quarterly basis. The other group is the training and implementation team. This was established last year because of the capabilities of this new system are so beyond what we had historically. We really have the ability, it's kind of like a blank slate. We can develop the system however we would like to, as far as like the creation of channels, where historically you'd have to license one frequency from the FCC to speak on that channel. Now, because of the technology, we have the ability to create hundreds of channels, what are referred to as talk groups. So really, we've had numerous meetings with this training implementation team. And throughout the course of this year, I'd say over the last couple of months, we were probably meeting every 2 to 3 weeks in the development to make sure that the system will meet all of the needs that all of these departments have, whether they're fire EMS, law enforcement, or their public works and DPW. So this has been continuing on as we move through this process. So we are getting close to finalizing our talk groups and how we want the radios programmed. And that's where Motorola and their partners will come in and begin to do the programming on all of those radios. The radios really are very similar to your cell phone, where it's like a small computer. The radios are pretty much just like that now. So there's a lot that goes into them once they're programmed. Then we will be moving forward with actually installation into all of the departments. This is also a part of the project, installing it into their vehicles, whether it's a squad car or it's a fire apparatus. This is all a part of the project. So that large number of $14+ million, that's what that is covering. The last third component, that's the ongoing, if we look at those 3 buckets, infrastructure, the equipment, and then the last third component, that's the ongoing costs of maintaining the radio system.
Supervisor Witherston.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You and I have had several talks on this subject, and
Yeah.
you've been very indulgent with me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I have one further question for you, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Caledonia, Mount Pleasant, Racine, Burlington are all going to see substantial costs with because they have their own police forces, where the other municipalities do not. Are those costs being added to their negotiations on the renewal of their contracts?
On the renewal of, I'm sorry.
Of their contracts with the sheriff's department?
So
So
as
like
far as,
will Raymond see a price increase for radios? Will it be a line item, radio costs?
so the overall, the ongoing costs of running a next gen radio system, because it is a very much a large computer server, right? Just as with IT, you need constant upgrades and maintenance of the system. That is a part of this system as well. There is a cost associated with running that system. And there's been communication in regards to this with the county executive, with executive leadership of the county board. And there is a closed session that's coming up on July 14th for the executive committee of the county board. And we will be discussing further several topics, this being one of them, and those costs, and then, but ultimately how those costs will be borne. There has not been a final decision on how the ongoing yearly costs to maintain the system will be borne yet. Yes.
Any further questions?
Could I go back to Supervisor Kaur's question from
Sure,
before?
go ahead.
So Supervisor Kaur, your question about the updates, and obviously technology continues to progress forward, right? So we definitely understand that, and especially coming out of the former system that we had, and the necessity of having regular updates and maintenance with the new system to get as much longevity out of it as we possibly can. That is a part of why we have a 13-year contract for the maintenance and updates with Motorola to ensure that that does take place. And there are certain benchmarks throughout that at certain year intervals where there are complete tech refreshes that are built into that to ensure that we are always having the updated technology that is necessary. All right.
Any further questions?
Absolutely. All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Item number 6. Reading of the minutes from the previous meeting, which is automatically waived unless requested by a majority of the members present. Seeing no objections. Item number 7, resolutions and ordinances referred to committee.
Resolution number 2026-11 by individual supervisors in support of the elimination of birth expense debts in Racine County child support cases and authorizing the cessation of efforts by the Office of Child Support Services to collect birth cost recovery debts was referred to the Health and Human Development Committee.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
that item was discussed at the Health and Human Development Committee last evening, and the committee voted to return it to the county board at the first meeting in July. And the author, Supervisor Coleman, will be sending via the county clerk some information to the board about why she is advocating for this.
and I believe because it's the finance committee is going to be taking it up also, is what I understand. Thank you, Mr.
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman,
Supervisor Rossi.
if I may I ask Supervisor Miller, was that unanimous?
There were 4 members present, and yes, they all voted to send it to board.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Yes, Supervisor Coleman.
Oh, hi, you guys. Yep, it was unanimous and looking forward to where it goes from here. Just want to say thank you, guys,
Alrighty.
and that I am here.
Item number 8. Item number 9, actually, communications and claims.
Actually, under number 8, Mr. Chairman, we have the first readings of resolution number 2026-17 by Public Works, Parks and Facilities Committee approving changes in the Racine County Rural Functional Classification System. Resolution number 2026-18 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing the acceptance of a Wisconsin Department of Military Affairs Office of Emergency Communications grant in the amount of $175,700 and transfer of funds within the Communications 2026 budget. Resolution number 2026-19 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing remaining Phase 2 funds for the Lake Michigan Water Response Vessel Capital Project and transfer of $500,000 within the Capital 2026 budget. And resolution number 2026-20 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing the sale and transfer of IMRIM parcel 1230 6th Street, parcel ID 276000003578001 to the City of Racine Community Development Authority in the amount of $50,032.
Item number 9 now, communications and claims.
I believe Supervisor, I'm not.
Oh, that's right, Supervisor Rossi.
Real quick with the
With the
resolution
public works.
2026-17, would it be all right if we had a unanimous consent to get first and second reading tonight? It's an urgent item.
Yes,
Thank you.
there's no objections.
Number 9, communications. Number 1, resolution urging the Wisconsin Counties Association and the Wisconsin Legislature to expand the definition of forfeiture expenses under Wisconsin Statute 961.55 to include drug-related treatment, diversion, and law enforcement program costs from Waushara County.
Item number 1 is referred to the Government Services Committee.
Number 2, resolution requesting the Wisconsin Counties Association to lobby the state legislature and governor on legislation for greater local control for Wisconsin counties related to large-scale solar and wind projects from Walworth County.
Item number 2 is referred to the Economic Development and Land Use Planning Committee.
Items 3 through 5 are claims against the county. Number 6 is a summons in a civil case. And items 7 through 21 are notifications from the United States Bankruptcy Court.
Items number 3 through 21 are referred to the Finance and Human Resources Committee and Corporation Council.
Are any copies requested? Supervisor Wishaw.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like a copy of numbers 1 through 6, please.
Supervisor Horth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like a copy of number 2, please.
Supervisor Miller.
1, 2, 4, and 6. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like copies of 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Supervisor Spencer.
1, 2, and 4, please.
Supervisor Shakur.
Number 4, please.
Vice Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2, 3, and 4, please.
And I'll take 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Chairman,
Yes.
1 through 6,
Supervisor Ho-
please.
Okay. Supervisor Rossi?
Thank you, Chairman. 1 and 2.
Any other requests? Supervisor Weatherston?
4.
Supervisor Osterman? He says 4. Supervisor Osterman? All right. Any further requests? Continue on. Communications from the county board chairman.
We have none from the chairman for this evening, but we do have from the county executive 2 reports. That would be report number 2026-26 by county executive making an appointment to the Commission on Aging and the Aging and Disability Resource Center Board.
Refer that to Health and Human Services.
And report number 2026-27 by county executive making a recommendation for an appointment to the Racine Board of Harbor Commissioners.
Refer that to Public Works. Item number 12. Standing Committee report containing recommendations on items referred.
We have no reports other than what Supervisor Mills shared about the resolution that was referred.
Okay. Item number 13, second reading of resolutions and ordinances. So we're going to be doing this in a little bit different order tonight because 2/3 majority is required for resolution 2026-14 and the ordinance 2026-13 is a majority vote. So we're going to flip the 2023 or 2/3 majority vote with the majority vote. So we have the resolution that's going to need to be created that we would have to create the ordinance for. So let's start with the 2/3 majority.
Okay, that group would be resolution number 2026-14 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing a memorandum of understanding with the continuum of care for the city and county of Racine Homelessness and Housing Alliance of Racine County, designating Racine County as the collaborative applicant to effectively plan and manage coordinated homeless assistance resources, acceptance and transfer of U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development funding allocated for the Racine Continuum of Care in an amount not less than $200,000 and creation of 1 FTE Continuum of Care Coordinator position. Resolution number 2026-15 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing a temporary agreement with the Village of Yorkville for police services for a revenue total of $4,716. And resolution number 2026-16 by Finance and Human Resources Committee authorizing the creation of 1 FTE Crisis Supervisor BE 45 effective June 26, 2026 and transfer of $60,154 within the Human Services 2026 budget.
Mr. Chairman. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In regards to resolution 2026-14, as was stated, this is a memorandum of understanding with a continuum of care for the city and county of Racine for Homeless and Housing Alliance, naming the Racine County as a collaborative applicant to plan and manage homeless assistance resources, and this puts the county in a better position to leverage state and federal dollars. This position is fully funded, and we have people on the line from HUD and in the audience here to answer any other questions, and Director Otto is here if there's any questions as well.
Are there any questions? Did you want to?
Mr. Chairman, if Director Otto could
Yeah,
just give a
Director.
brief description of how this will enhance the entire community's ability to deal with homelessness.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Supervisor Miller. So the continuum of care, as I think I've explained to you before, is helping with the housing continuum for individuals throughout all of Racine County. Currently, that is an independent, and it still will be an independent board, but it works cooperatively with our homeless organizations such as HALO, Transitional Living Services, the Hospitality Center, Hope Center, and other community partners. What we hope to be able to do through becoming the collaborative applicant is, as Vice Chairman Meyer said, is be able to leverage not only the funding coming through HUD, but the capacity of the county to be able to secure additional grants to enhance the current efforts that are being done and the facilitating and convening authority of the county. So we think that this will be a huge value add for the community, and looking forward to hopefully that opportunity.
Supervisor Caprillion.
Thank you. I really want to applaud the county on taking this step. I think somebody who's worked within the continuum of care and just somewhat having a pulse on it over the years, I think you almost come in as this caregiver. And I think the county is in a good place to help strengthen it and to mend and to really address and enhance any type of services that can come with those experiencing homelessness. And so really an applaud on the county who started this conversation, who stepped up and said, we're willing to take this on. And it really should be recognized because this was in place prior to the county having it. But it was wounded, I will say. And so again, thank you for willing to step up and to cause this mend for our county.
Supervisor Horth.
Yes, Director Otto, just the wording in here is that this is to be not less than $200,000.
Right. And so no, is that what it says? To be not
It
less?
says not less than 200,000.
Okay, I think that is worded incorrectly then. No, it's not. Go ahead, Michael. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the not less than is referring to the receipt, the acceptance and transfer of funding. And so that language is important in that it's expected to be in excess of that, but minimally the board's authorization of this would be to accept an amount of not less than 200,000. The 200,000 would be sufficient and probably more than enough to fund that position that would be authorized by this.
The planning grant, is it, my understanding, and Bob is here, who is the current president of the COC. My understanding is that because the billing came in the federal fiscal year, we wrote this in a way that the planning grant, which funds this position, would be bridging 2 years, so that amount would be around 200,000. But is there anything you can add to that? Because I actually think the wording should be a little bit different. The amount that we get is somewhere around the 130 or 140,000 for the planning grant.
I can't speak to it anymore. There was
Sure.
considerable discussion about precisely this point, and then this is the number that was given to us from Human Services.
Yep.
Yeah, so the planning grant each year is around $130,000. And I think the question is, because it is multiple years, it would be around $200,000. And we are looking at figuring out exactly what that looks like going forward.
Okay.
Because it's a multi-year MOU. Does that answer your question?
I don't know. We might want to revisit the language on that.
Yeah, I mean, the language is clear. And so if there's a question about whether that is viable, then absolutely, it's something that we should take a further look at.
Have we done this program in the past?
But again, it's not really a program where we would be the collaborative applicant for receiving funds. So we would be preparing the annual grant to be able to receive funds through us and conduct all of the meetings and facilitate the meetings of all the different partners. And so, no, this has never been done by the county before. It's currently being performed by Halo.
Was this in our plan for this year to be done?
We've been talking for the past 2 years about us taking on this responsibility. And it's taken this long to work out some of the details of the transition.
I guess I apologize. I guess my question was there a number specifically budgeted in this year's plan for
No.
this?
No, that's why it's a separate consideration.
Thank you.
The position is fully funded by the planning grant. And so it's the amount in which there's again, the federal fiscal year to our calendar year. That's why I thought the $200,000 amount was what was identified because of the overlap of that. So that would be, I think, the language about the 200,000, I think, is less important than that's fulfilling the functions of the position, which is the planning grant has never been under 130,000, and the position is under that, like 110.
Any further questions? I do have one. We're the fiscal agent for this
Correct.
consortium.
Yep.
Am I correct? Yes. And the consortium will hire the continuum of care coordinator position? Or would they be an employee of the Racine
Racine
County?
County.
Racine County employee. Okay. All right.
And the ordinance that's being considered would make it a part of the human services budget.
Mhm.
And
Any
Mr.
further?
Mr. Chairman, if I could just add, so I can direct the board to in the resolution, and this is referencing language that's in the MOU. It says at page 4, line 18, minimally funds associated with the planning grant and the annual HUD application shall be allocated to Racine County to cover staffing and other costs necessary to carry out the terms of the MOU unless otherwise agreed to in writing and subject to approval. And so that's the language that I was referring to, and
Yep.
that I think that Director Otto is referring to, is that minimally it needs to be enough to cover the staffing. In the event in a future year it was not enough, there's the option of the board withdrawing from that allows for cancellation of this.
And my understanding of that is because you're bridging the year, you would be half of the grant plus the full grant, which would be no less than 200,000. That's how I read it, but I also not sure if that's a helpful, it's confusing language.
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Miller.
I think another way to look at this is the federal government requires this entity all over the country in order to dispense many different programs and grants for homelessness. What we are doing is saying that Racine County will be the most responsible party, still working in collaboration with all these other groups. And because it's going to be in our human services department, you can imagine that we will know how to best use and supplement and coordinate many different programs to assist the homeless. And so this is really an opportunity to enhance the services and really get more federal money because I think we will have access to that once the collaboration gets stronger.
Beautifully said.
Any further questions?
Chairman?
Supervisor Rossi.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to make sure procedurally we're not doing anything odd, should we add some language about, I mean, an approximate amount, or is there no issue passing this as is, knowing we're not going to hit the annual not less than amount?
So I don't think finance is here, but
They're not.
the language was drafted. I'm going through documentation and that it's a quote from our finance department that said in an amount not less than $200,000. And so it was a very purposeful language that was included in that dollar amount, that it be sufficient to cover, that it was the minimum number. It was the floor of what was expected. But I can't speak for how that figure was formulated.
But do we move forward with this, and if a change is needed, do we bring it back? How would that?
We could do that if we needed to have a change, bring back another resolution and through finance. I mean, that would.
Thank you.
That's how we would handle that. Supervisor Osterman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is a 2-year cycle.
The MOU was agreed to for 3 years, correct, Michael? Yeah. So, sorry.
No, you're fine.
It's a 3-year agreement through the MOU. It's funded each year by the federal government. we are, I think, running almost a full year behind. So the money that we're spending right now is money that was allocated for 2025, for fiscal year 2025. And that's kind of the way these programs work, because of the amount of number of programs, the amount of money, the federal government, it just kind of is behind a ways. And the funding comes out through these notice of funding opportunities. And that is what the collaborative applicant does, is it applies for the money for the programs in Racine County.
So this language of minimal $200,000 is really targeted for a 2-year, it's a 1-year care. No,
It's 1 year.
it's 1 year.
But it's the federal fiscal year, so because the money hasn't been received.
Gotcha.
So that's what
So that's where we're
I
into.
can't, again, I can't speak for Gwen, but my understanding of this was half of the 130,000 plus the 130,000 would cover the position. So the language was probably geared towards that time period because we're funded in a different.
I was just confused because the fiscal note says the full year cost of the position with fringe is 106.5.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're talking about a fiscal year, you're talking about a year and a half.
The federal fiscal, correct.
Got it. Thank you.
Supervisor Coleman. Did you have a question?
Did we get the 3 members in for the board? Did we ever square that away?
Yes, so we have 2 members appointed initially, and then upon the resignation or somebody that will be falling off the board, there's an additional person.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
So the way it will work is there will be 3 positions on the board that are appointed by the county. One of those positions will be kind of the county's representative, so that the board has somebody that they can work with. That they're saying, this is the point person if we need to work with the county as the collaborative applicant. So that's the one person. Then there are 2 additional positions that the county would be able to appoint. Additionally, there would be the person who would be the director. And the director is not a member of the board of directors. The director is tasked with the job of completing the NOFO application. So and working with the board and the COC at large. So it's 3 board positions plus the director who would be an employee of the county.
And responsible for helping to fill positions after somebody is off the board and providing recommendations, correct?
Yes, correct.
And just to clarify, the reference to the director is to the COC coordinator. That's how that position is termed in the
position that we're
ordinance and
giving
in the MOU.
Okay, go ahead.
If it would be helpful for some of the board members, not only was the continuum of care coordinator position listed on that fiscal note as Exhibit A, there's also an Exhibit B, which shows you the grant revenue and all of the line items related to expenses. And on that Exhibit B fiscal note, it says the MOU period will be effective from June 1st of 26 through August 31st of 28, if that's helpful for the time period.
That is extremely helpful. So my assumptions are correct. I'm glad.
So it's the fine print. Any further questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to 2026-15, Vice Chair.
The resolution, thank you, Chairman. Resolution 2026-15 is basically exactly what it says. It's a temporary contract with the Village of Yorkville, for the Sheriff's Department, which would generate a revenue of $4,716. If it's acceptable with the Village of Yorkville, they do have the option to continue with the Sheriff's Department, and new contracts will be coming out in August. And Captain Magical is here if there's any other questions in regards to that short-term contract.
Go ahead, Captain, if you want to explain a little bit of the background, how many hours that is and.
Sure. This is not one of our larger contracts. This is actually 8 hours per month.
Okay,
The Village of Yorkville, they've never had a contract with us, so that's why we're here today. It's a new contract. And they just want to be able to have the mechanism in place to enforce their ordinances. So
any questions? Seeing none, we'll move on. Vice Chair, 2026-16.
Yeah, resolution 2026-16, Chairman, is a resolution creating a FTE crisis supervisor for the sale program. This position will strengthen oversight and improve operational consistency across all shifts. The sale program is a 24/7 operation, and I believe 60% of this position is funded through 2026, and 100% of the position will be funded in 2027. And Director Otto is here if there's any other questions in regards to that position.
Come on up,
Request.
Director Otto, and give us a little background on this.
Yeah, thank you. So the position that is in front of you is for our SAIL program, which is our crisis stabilization. We currently have one supervisor for 18 staff. And moving forward, we are having a reimbursement mechanism which will fund the position fully in 2027. We're moving into a per diem rate as opposed to just billing straight crisis, which has the reimbursement that you outlined in the memo, which is about 60% of the cost, and then goes into a cost reconciliation process. So that's why we're asking for this amount for this year, because it would be covering the time period until 2027 when the per diem rate kicks in and would cover the position in full.
Are there any questions? Supervisor Rossi.
Thank you, Chairman. Not so much a question, just a comment. I was for a moment thinking of asking for separate consideration because I am against this, and my reasoning that I gave at the committee level was out of all the positions that we have, it's hard for me to accept that we couldn't eliminate one position to gain one supervisor position, even if it is going to be paid for in 2027, and that's to be determined once we actually see the budget. But just wanted that on record. It's not enough for me at this point to ask for separate consideration unless I saw a lot of hands. Thanks.
Any further questions? All right, so these are 2/3 majority vote. We should fire our roll call system up.
Yeah, does everybody move forward? Supervisor Coleman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Hey, wait a minute. Well, she's not supposed to be. So. All right, motion carries unanimously.
Imagine what happens when you got good batteries, eh?
Well, we got 2 stacks of brand new ones. We will go back to the item that was on the agenda for majority vote for second reading with ordinance number 2026-13 by Finance and Human Resources Committee, amending the Racine County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 5, Division 2 Departments, Section 2-276, Human Services.
Motion's been made and seconded. Corp Counsel.
Sure. So Director Otto, I may turn to you if there are questions, but the ordinance that you see before you is really a combination of some updates to reflect the addition of this continuum of care coordinator position that would be appointed by the county executive and confirmed by the Board of Supervisors. That position would report to the Administrator of Workforce and Support Services within the Human Services Department and be responsible for the coordination of homeless assistance resources. And then within that same section, because we were going in there and making those additions, there was some cleanup as well that's within that proposed revision as well. Yeah, there was a reference to Ridgewood. There was a reference to the secure detention facility that was changed to the Youth Development and Care Center. And that's, I think, a previous reference to the workforce development. That's workforce solutions. So just some basic cleanup in addition to the primary driver of this change is to add that COC coordinator position.
Are there any further questions? Comments? This is a voice majority vote. All in favor, say aye. And then we go back to 2026-17.
Resolution number 2026-17 by Public Works, Parks and Facilities Committee approving changes in the Racine County Rural Functional Classification System.
Motion's been made and seconded. Supervisor Rossi.
Thank you, Chairman. Public Works met last week to take up this item, and Vice Chair Wishow in the meeting, and I believe this passed unanimously for the recommendation to approve. The issue that required the first and second reading had to do with, well, it's a little bit of a manpower issue, and then also timing with what the DOT and the FHWA is looking for. I'm going to pass this over then to someone who's much more intelligent on this subject, Shannon.
This is for the Rural Functional Classification System. The Wisconsin Department of Transportation updates it on a needed basis on the amount of access points and the usage of the roadways. And they've decided that there are 4 roadways in Racine County that needed to be updated. And with that, they ask for us to pass a resolution to allow that to be done.
Supervisor Miller.
Could you give us a little background on what the updates were?
They changed County Trunk G to a arterial, and they changed Highway 20 and Highway 83 as a higher class arterial as well. And then there was another change to, I believe it was C. I don't have that with me. But it was C. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? So voice majority vote.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why is this urgent?
Deadline, I would.
The Wisconsin Department of Transportation requires it to be done by July 1st.
Okay. Any other further questions? Go ahead, Supervisor Spencer.
Are any of these road names changing? Or-
No, it's just the classification of the roadway is just based upon the funding and the mechanisms on how we maintain and operate those roadways.
Okay.
Supervisor Osterman.
Does it downgrade the funding that we would receive?
No, it does
Or
not.
Does it, it doesn't change anything. There's no real advantage to us to.
It can change how much they would give based upon if they change it to a higher classification of roadway, they could give us more money as far as the type of treatments that are given to the roadway.
And that's based upon weight or traffic count or what
Correct.
have you. So we could not get less, we may get more.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? So voice majority vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 14, reconsideration of resolutions and ordinances from previous meetings and or actions on vetoes.
There are none.
Item number 15, reconsideration of and or notice of intent to reconsider resolutions and ordinances.
There are no items.
Informational reports.
Report number 2026-28 by Finance and Human Resources Committee submitting claims against budget accounts for May 2026.
Item number 17, miscellaneous business announcements and oral reports. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a little note for the rest of the county board supervisors. As part of the city's Racine America's 250th celebration, the city is creating a community time capsule and has invited Racine County to contribute some items for the inclusion of the time capsule. The time capsule will be sealed and buried on July 5th, 2026, and scheduled to be open 50 years later in 2076. So the county plans to include a map of the Racine County showing the county board supervisors and their representative districts, something from the Racine County Golf Outing, a JD golf ball, along with few printed materials representing significant county projects such as the Jonathan Delagrave Youth Detention Development and Care Center Program Booklet, Behavioral Health Building, groundbreaking invitations, and some et cetera information. So the county executive and staff wanted to let everybody else know that we were participating in this with the city, and it's something that we should be proud of for the 250th celebration. Thank you.
And then don't forget it's Racine County Breakfast on the Farm at the Racine County Fairgrounds this weekend, this Saturday, from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Any further, Supervisor Caprellian?
Just really quick, Youth and Governance Bus Tour, day number 2 is Thursday, and all of you supervisors are invited. And thank you Supervisor Osterman for joining them today.
Supervisor Shakur.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To all of the fathers, one belated happy Father's Day to you, but I don't want to leave the ladies out. And happy Mother's Day too, as well.
And then enjoy 4th of July. We are adjourned. I was gonna.